I'm usually out here showing you guys sneakers that I think are great options, whether it's comfortable sneakers, affordable sneakers, hype sneakers, or just pairs that look good. The list goes on, but today here is 7 sneakers that I think you should not buy here in 2023. And we're gonna kick this off with a pair of shoes that I hope most of you think is a no-brainer. It's the Mischief Big Red Boot. And I'm not even saying don't buy these things for the obvious reasons, like they're impractical, you can't drive a car wearing them. No, I understand the original concept behind the pair of shoes is just kind of gimmicky, so I understand the practicality of these things is really not there. That's not the whole reason I'm saying don't buy these. I personally think that the Big Red Boots are gonna kind of age like a meme. They came around, took the internet by storm, and they're already done and gone. People have wiped their hands of them clean, and now they're a thing of the past. There's quite a few people who bought this pair of boots for thousands. Like, I'm talking these things were reselling for like up to $2 grand. And that's because there was only a small amount of pairs that were actually in circulation. These pairs were meant for marketing. Mischief made a bunch of pairs to send to different influencers so they could show them off and create that social media storm that you saw when those released. And then they launched the pre-order for general people to go in and buy them. And because there was so much hype, everybody was looking at the resale price being at thousands. But guess what? Those pre-orders, I believe, were 8 weeks, so most people don't even have pairs in, and the resale price has already halved, if not quartered. The only people that are really going to use these boots are like social media influencers or people who just want to flex that they have this pair of shoes, or hey, maybe for a sneaker collection to just have that wow factor. So if you really feel like you need this pair of boots and you've really wanted them, maybe just wait till like most people get their pre-orders in. I guarantee that resale price will be dropping down. Alright, next up is the Tiffany Nike Air Force 1. Now this one you could kind of chalk it up to personal opinion. Well, pretty much any of these sneakers on today's list is personal opinion, but I do believe that this pair of shoes is kind of overhyped, and it honestly seems like ever since the release of these things, the hype has kind of dropped. You don't really see too many people speaking about them. And I kind of feel like the reason behind that is just because it's not that exciting of a pair of sneakers. Like honestly, I was just about to buy this pair of shoes. I was about to spend a ton of money, but then I kind of considered it. I held off and I saw people get this pair of shoes in hand, and I just kind of realized I'm never really going to wear this pair of shoes, and for the price tag, I just don't think it's exciting enough. There was so many people who were annoyed at the retail price of these being $400. They thought that that was overpriced. Well, if you consider the resale value, I think it's even more inflated. It's pretty much an all black Air Force 1 with a Tiffany Nike swoosh, and the most exciting thing about this pair of sneakers is the fact that it has a silver bar on the back of it, which most people are covering up with the hem of their trousers. I personally don't think this is one of those collaborations that ages very well. Like sometimes you have these really creative, crazy collaborations that gathers a lot of hype, and even the resale value can be insane, but I just don't see that with this pair of sneakers, and I don't think people are gonna look back at this pair of shoes thinking, I really wish I should have got that black Air Force 1 with the Tiffany Nike swoosh. Right, next up is a pair of shoes that I didn't think I'd have to put on this list, but apparently we're not over it. It's GR Dunks. More specifically, this pair of sneakers right here, the Panda Dunk. Now look, I'm not hating on Panda Dunks. I'm not one of those people who hates on the black and white colorway. I completely understand it, and I think there's nothing wrong with wanting a hyped shoe in a very wearable, versatile colorway. If you were one of my friends and family who came to me asking me for a recommendation in terms of a Nike Dunk, I certainly wouldn't point you in the Panda Dunk direction. If you wanted a pair of Panda Dunks, you've got two options. You can either pay the resale price, or you're gonna have to wake up and try your luck against a bunch of resellers to get a pair when they drop or restock on the Nike app. And I honestly think that there's too many incredible options on the Nike Dunk Low to go that route. This pair right here isn't even a traditional Panda Dunk. This is a Nike Dunk Low by you, and I've talked about this a million different times. This is a great option. It's available on the Nike app right now. You can buy this colorway with way better materials, and you don't have to wait in a queue. You don't have to pay a reseller. You don't have to do anything. Or if you wanted to get ready for the spring summertime, you want something a little bit brighter, you could go for something like this. Or if you had a little bit of extra cash, there's a bunch of really nice Nike SB collaborations that are not reselling for anything like they used to back in 2021 or 2020. So many insanely nice options. I don't think you need to settle for the Nike Dunk Pandas unless you really, really want them. All right, next up we got a very specific pair of shoes that I wanted to like wholeheartedly. It's the Nike Cortez Sakai collaboration. I've tried to wear these things on multiple occasions, and every time I put them on my feet, I just feel so weird walking around. And the reason why I don't think you should bother buying this pair of sneakers is just for how unstable they are. They created this pair of shoes in such a weird way that it has such a narrow and tiny outsole, to the point where you're walking around and you feel like you're going to roll your ankle. Now look, there may be some people people who find this pair of shoes completely fine to walk around in, but for me personally, and I've also heard a couple of other people say the exact same thing, it just feels super weird walking around in it and you feel like you're gonna snap your ankle. In fact, I actually have rolled my ankle trying to wear this pair of shoes, and that's when I just gave up, threw in the towel. I'm not wearing these things. If you've tried this pair of shoes out and they work for you, or you own this pair of sneakers and you find them perfectly fine, that is great. But after I've worn them around, I can't personally recommend them. I've heard a lot of other people say the exact same thing. All right, next up on the list is a little bit more broad, and that is Jordan 1s. Just don't buy that. As we know, us sneakerheads, we're always gonna love the Jordan 1. It's a freaking classic, but personally, I don't really think you need to be paying full price for a pair of Jordan 1s. I think here in 2023, there is so many incredible colorways of the Jordan 1 that are sitting under retail. And honestly believe when holiday season comes rolling around and like Black Friday and all of the sales start going on, we're gonna see a lot of retailers actually slashing prices on Jordan 1s. I mean, honestly, I genuinely think I could make a top 10 list of Jordan 1s that are under retail currently. So unless you're looking for a very specific colorway that's upcoming, or maybe one from the past and you want to spend a little bit of extra money, then sure, go right ahead. But if you're someone who's just like, I want a fresh pair of Jordan 1s and I'm not after a specific colorway, and you've got a whole bunch of options with some really solid colorways for a decent price tag. All right, next up on the list is a pair of shoes that I'm a big fan of, but I don't think you should buy, and that is the Soleil Bembury Crocs. Now look, there's nothing wrong with this pair of shoes, but I think pretty much half of the colorways that are available actually resell for a pretty ridiculous price tag. And those are kind of the specific ones that I'm saying don't buy. You don't need to spend a ridiculous amount on those colorways. I've walked into quite a few different retailers who have Soleil Bembury Crocs sat on shelves, and that is multiple colorways. Like the black pair I think is retail or just under. Like this one I think is still reselling for way more than it actually should be. We're gonna be seeing a lot more other colorways in the near future, at least according to Soleil Bembury and Crocs. If they just signed a new deal, there should be a bunch more colorways. I would probably hold out for some of those newer colorways because you could probably get them relatively easily at retail price. All right, I saved this last one because it might be a conspiracy theory, but I thought I'd mention it so that you can at least be cautious about this pair of sneakers. And that is the New Balance 2002R Protection Pack. So this is a really weird one. If you guys can remember, the price of these things were absolutely ridiculous. Like it was super high. And then randomly, very quietly, that price plummeted right down to about retail price. And no one was really talking about this. I had no idea why the resale price on these just plummeted out of nowhere. But I was like, well, hey, let me grab a pair because I've always wanted this colorway, and now that the price tag is actually reasonable and something I can afford, let me pick these things up. So when I unboxed these things on the channel, I actually got a few DMs from some of you guys who pointed out there's this theory that's going around the internet. There's a whole bunch of fake New Balances circulating the market. So one of two theories behind the price plummet is that one, there's a whole bunch of really good fakes that are circulating the market, and that's why the price tag is plummeted, because they're all just loading these shoes up on StockX and Goat and whatever other resale platform. And how you can tell that these things are apparently fake, yeah, this pair is made in China and it has this yellow sticker on it, and apparently the original pair was made in Vietnam and it didn't have this sticker on it. I've looked at this pair of shoes over and over again, and this one is made in Vietnam, this one is made in China, and I've looked at them and they seem pretty much exact. It's pretty hard to tell because these jagged cuts in the material are kind of different from pair to pair, so it's really hard to kind of, I guess, legit check or authenticate. The other theory behind this pair of shoes price tag plummeting on the aftermarket is that there's just a whole bunch of pairs that were in China at the New Balance store that were sitting on shelves and they got released and nobody wanted them and they went on the resale platforms, and that's why you see the price tag plummeting. They are actually real pairs. They were just made in China for the Chinese market. I guess there's also a case that both theories could be true at the same time. There could be a bunch of pairs that were made by New Balance from China that just made it onto these resale platforms, and there could also be a bunch of fakes circulating the market as well. So if you still want to go ahead and buy this pair of shoes, just at least be cautious. I know that some people have got actual fakes that are noticeably different. Let me know down in the comment section if there's any other sneakers that you would add to this list. Drop it down in the comments, help us all out. But at the end of the day, guys, these are just recommendations. You've got to buy whatever makes you happy, and you know what else will make you happy? That top 10 spring summer list that I just made over there. Go check it out.